everybody. Welcome to the SnoWest Show. I'm your host, Ryan Harris. Man, it's been a long summer off of not talking and not doing shows like this. It's going to be a little rusty here, but we're back. We are just a few days away from Heydays. We hop on a plane in 2 days. You guys hop on a plane Thursday, Friday morning. You're headed out there as well. Friday morning. You're bringing the heat from St. Anthony.
That's right.
Heydays is not going to know what hit it.
That's right.
You get a little St. Anthony showing up, but we're here. Today's going to be a fun show. We've got the guys from IBEX on again. They're always fun to have on. We've done several episodes with them. We got some cool stuff going on in the IBEX booth. We'll get to that in a minute here, but out there at Heydays, if you're going to be at Heydays, you're going to want to stop by the IBEX booth, especially Saturday, and check out what's going on there. We're going to be there as well. The SnoWest Show. We're going to be kind of inside the corner of the climb booth, right across from Bikeman, and we're going to have all of our new merch. We've got hoodies and T-shirts and stuff out there. So stop by and say hi, and then we're going to be shooting episodes of the podcast right there as well too. So come jump in the background, wave at the camera. Just whatever you do, don't pull another cotton stand right in front of the camera. Right? Just stop by and say hi though. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be there all weekend. We show up Thursday, and then we'll be setting up in the rain Friday with everybody else. And looks like it's going to pour.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, it's rain all this week through Thursday. There's a little break in the weather Friday. No, rain Friday. A little break in the weather Saturday, Sunday, but it's only going to be like a high of 62. But it's changing daily, so who knows?
Sweet.
I think we're going to wind up getting rained on, but
maybe I should not go.
No, you better be out there. Right. Oh my gosh, farmer from St. Anthony just don't want any rain, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let me introduce everybody here real quick. We've got from IBEX, we've got Michael Klassen. You've been there. How did IBEX start? Because the background is Bully Dog Technologies, right?
Yeah, so myself and my brothers were Bully Dog, and then William and Alex, my two sons, worked for our Bully Dog for a little while after we sold it, and then they went off and started IBEX, largely clutching and stuff like that to begin with, for UTVs and snowmobiles, and now they've progressed to the point where they have, amazing turbochargers and clutch kits and that sort of thing. And of course, all of their background in the tuning world has made a ton of difference for them to help lead in the tuning industry in the market, which we can touch on later. But even our own ECUs now. So
yeah, Alex Klassen. So you've been tuning trucks. You've been tuning. What's your specialty there? Like at IBEX, like William does more of the computer stuff, and you do more of the. How does that break down?
So William does most of the engineering on the clutching side of stuff. He understands it a lot better than I do. I'm more the looks of the company, so that's what I specialize in. Forgot to do my hair this morning, so I wore a hat. But
that's a good move.
I do most of the marketing. Stuff with the help of a few people and day-to-day operations kind of deal, getting stuff shipped out and all that. I did most of the turbo tuning last year on the snow side of stuff. William worked mostly on the NA stuff. We converse a lot in both clutching and tuning just because it's really nice to get a different perspective from, you can get stuck in a box like, hey, this is the problem and all that, where it's good when somebody steps out and says, wait a minute, let's look at it from this angle. So yeah, William and I work really, really well together that way. So
yeah, and you see this a lot in aftermarket companies. We've covered diesel stuff, UTVs, trucks, snowmobiles, and so every now and then you'll get that situation that you're talking about where one guy just kind of closes everything off, and it just becomes the one thing that he wants to do. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly he's like, that company just kind of disappears. Yeah. You talk to him a couple years later, and he's like, well, I don't know. I thought my stuff worked better, but I didn't have that input. I was just working on what I wrote and what I did. Yep. But yeah, you guys have been great at that, involving multiple people and tuning and coming up with new products. And then the man down there to the end of the table, if he looks like he got hit by a bus, it's because he probably did.
Probably did.
Fresh off a weekend of UTV invasion.
Yep.
Trevor Blackburn. Trevor, what do you do at IBEX?
Marketing, basically. Just marketing and help build excitement and the fun stuff, really.
Yeah.
Alex is kind of fun. I mean, you can see all the energy here, so I just bring a little bit more.
Got my pre-workout this morning, so.
Did you? Oh, this is caffeinated, Alex.
Yeah, you should see I'm not caffeinated.
All right, and then over here to my right, we've got SnoWest test rider Bruce Kerbs. And you know what, Bruce? If there's a shit list for test riders, you're on it.
I'm on it.
You're on it. And you know why?
Why is that?
Because we went through this whole last season, like looking at Arctic Cat.
I know.
Like, and all of us, myself included, like I'm calling and texting everybody I can think of at the company, like, hey, what's going on? Is there a potential buyer? Are you guys really going to get bought out? What's going on? Can we plan on anything? Is there an announcement coming? Is there a date for an announcement coming? And we're sitting there in the complete dark. Like I'm getting crumbs from Troy Halverson and a little bit of stuff, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. We're kind of in that process, and we got some decent offers, and I don't know. It looks good, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So here we go. I go through the whole season, sitting there thinking like, okay, well, how are we going to operate on just Polaris and BRP? Like I'm just thinking like, okay, Arctic Cat's out. It's been too long. They've had these offers on the table for too long. Their history, and then the news breaks. And what do I find out the day that the news breaks? You flipping rode all of the 2026 Arctic Cats before they even broke the news.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how I fell into that one.
How did you fall into that?
Well, you got to know certain people, I guess, and then you got to kind of be that loyal cat guy that nobody likes.
Well, you got that down on 2 points.
I think I have two other guys that like cats also, but I don't know. That was kind of cool. But man, I couldn't take any pictures, nothing. And then a month after it breaks, they're like, "Well, you can start posting stuff." I'm like, "You didn't let me take any pictures or write anything down or nothing." So
yeah.
Anyway, it was cool. Like it was kind of almost Christmas again for me.
Well, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if you're a SnoWest test rider or a Cat test rider. But
I did feel bad. I will tell you that
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't. I'm sure you were like, I don't want to keep this a secret. I mean, that's if anything, you
dialed
proved
your
that
name like 4 times on the way home, and I'm like, I can't. But,
oh man!
Anyway.
Well, you've proved your loyalty, I guess, to somebody.
To somebody, yeah.
Well, that's pretty impressive. So, give me just. I mean, the September issue of SnoWest, which we have a deal going right now. If you go to SnoWest social media this week, you'll be able to see a deal where you can subscribe to SnoWest magazine at a discounted rate. But in that September issue, that's already printed, that we'll have at Heydays, copies to hand out and everything. You've got a blurb in there talking about your ride on the 26 Cats. Mm-hmm. So give me just like a short synopsis of what did you ride. We'll do an episode on this later.
Okay. And
we'll really dive into this, but I just want I want the shortened version.
So I got to think. I'm getting old and can't remember, but I did get to ride the Twin Rail, which is it's a 2.6. They're only coming out with a 2.6 with the Twin Rail, right? The dual rail.
Right. So are you on the HCR? That has to be the HCR.
Yep, the HCR. Yep. Yeah. So I did ride, just the monorail in, and then we swapped up higher. The snow wasn't great. 3-4 inches of new on some pretty hard snow, some slick snow. So it was kind of hard to actually get the feel of it, but it did feel, with that new chassis and stuff and the dual rail, it did feel like the sled that everybody kind of has been talking about that wants. Personally, I'm still a fan of the monorail, but it's because I've rode it since 19 and put a lot of miles on it, and I don't know, I've really adapted to it. But I think that dual rail is going to be something that Cat's going to take and people are going to want, and I feel like it's going to help them get put back on the map a little bit.
Well, knowing you were probably on the Alpha 1 like back in 17 when they were still prototyping it. Nobody else had seen it. And you just couldn't tell anybody about
16. It was 16. No, but I think it's good that Cat's back, not only for Cat, but the industry in a whole. So
well, so that condition that you rode, 3 or 4 inches of soft on top of hard snow, like mm-hmm. that is the Achilles heel of the Alpha Rail. So yeah, what did you feel when you got on that HCR?
The dual rail definitely held the line better. Didn't seem to wash out. And like I say, with that chassis, everything just seemed to work better. I did have a 2018 with the dual rail, with the Ascender chassis, and the Alpha chassis just works better with the dual rail and the monorail.
Yeah, I mean, you're so much lighter than that Ascender chassis.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have that 2.6 track, so you've got an advantage there in that snow condition. So,
right.
I don't know. I'm looking for somebody. The first person that's got an HCR with a a deep lug track on it, that conversion.
We should do that. We should build one.
Well, all right. Did you buy one?
No, not this year.
Sticking with the 25?
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So stay tuned to that. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the SnoWest show. Subscribe to the SnoWest magazine channel because we are going to go real in depth on the 26 cats here pretty soon. In fact, we do have an episode scheduled with Brad Darling where we're going to talk about the whole acquisition story. Like, how did this happen? When did Brad get involved? What happened? Like, what is the story? How did this all come to be?
That'll be cool.
I want to get Troy Halverson on there as well because he was instrumental in all of this as well. He was the guy inside Arctic Cat from Textron that stayed there. Kind of one of the highest seats on the totem pole there. And Troy's got a lot of cool things to say about this too. But yeah, we're going to get Brad Darling on, tell that story. We're going to dive into the 26s with Andy Beavis and talk about some of the technology. We've got great episodes coming up. We're shooting with you guys at Heydays, and then we're going to shoot like 7 or 8 other episodes at Heydays. We're going to be talking with Polaris. They've got a cool new project that they're releasing. I really can't say more than that, but it's a project with a throttle, and it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to sit down with the people involved with that at Heydays right after it's released. Skidoo as well. Skidoo's got some cool new stuff going on. We're going to be riding sleds in the mud. You know the mud bog pits there at Heydays?
Yeah.
We're riding Lynx snowmobiles through the mud bogs Saturday afternoon.
Hope you don't get dirty.
Well, this is how crazy the Lynx guys are. It's like, well, what can we come up with that's kind of unique? Well, I don't know. Let's challenge all the media guys to a race through the mud. Like, so, all right.
So you're riding?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm up against Ross Robinson, and I have no details. No details whatsoever, because that's also how they roll. And all I know is that I'm going to get a pass to use the showers after. That's it. Show up at 2, get muddy, and then we're going to go hit the showers. So,
wow, they shower together?
Well, one at a time.
That's what I was going to ask.
One at a time. Yeah, that was poorly phrased on my part.
They're trying to save water there, huh?
Didn't you get 2 tickets in?
You never know. Yeah,
you got 2 tickets to the shower. I heard.
Okay, we might back up and edit that part a little bit. Okay, let's dive in though. We're here because every year it seems like we put something together and we go ride IBEX performance stuff. We did stuff on the Catalyst Turbo 600, first turbo kits out there, first mass-produced turbo kits out there that we went and rode. And after that, we rode some Polaris stuff that you guys worked on. We rode more Cat stuff. You guys built you worked together with Brady Schoenfelder and built a 900 Cat. And that wasn't enough. You put a turbo on it in the Catalyst chassis. But this year, Bruce and I went out with you kind of late spring, and we rode some stuff that you guys have been working on. And that ride was more focused on talking about Polaris stuff, Polaris 9R clutching, 9R performance enhancements, intake systems, the Patriot Boost stuff, clutching and ECU tuning and intakes for that as well. And so we rode your 25 Chaos Boost that you guys had. You had ECU tuning on that, right? So
yep.
when I say ECU tuning, is that a standalone ECU unit that you replace, or are you going in and overriding?
No, it's a downloader process. So it takes about 5-10 minutes to run through it. But we're just altering the stock calibration.
Okay. And so what all is going into on this boost? Like, you really woke this boost up. Like it had all the good attributes of a stock 25 boost, which 2025 was the best year of the Patriot Boost. Like, they just progressively started getting better from 22 every year. And the 25 was just a screamer. And you guys went in and cleaned up that even more and gave that some enhancements. So walk us through the process of the ECU tuning. I know William's not here, but how do you guys find these extra horsepower, I guess?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is just turning the boost up. There's always timing stuff you can do. We messed a lot with the way the wastegate works and how it works in order to make it spool faster. Plus, your in and out throttle gets way more responsive. Obviously, clutching has a ton to do with that. More bottom end, snappier, kind of like the 9R. I was really close to throwing a 9R motor, which a lot of people have done now, into the boost and running that. But after the 2025 came out, we got our hands on one of those and started tuning it. I don't see the advantage of doing a 9R. There might be a little bit more top end power, but as far as the lighter weight crank and everything, I am shocked at how responsive the boost is. My 22, I was excited for it, but I was a little disappointed in it. But the 25, I mean, it's an animal. I love the way that it works. They fixed all the things that a lot of people had complaints about. The throttle is a lot smoother, seems like, with that new thing. The brake is obviously super touchy, which is nice when you're in the trees and stuff like that. And then obviously the chassis has been stellar since they brought it out. So, but the biggest thing that I noticed, I tuned it up on the mountain after William had gotten done with it. And I was like, is it really going to make the difference that William said it was going to make? And what I noticed is we were back in Preston, and we were clear back in the trees and stuff. And the instant thing that I noticed was when I drop the throttle and get back into it to get around a tree, or drop the ski down to drop down and then back up, what I noticed the most was just when I got back onto it, it wasn't just the engine horsepower that was there, it was the boost was there. So William messed a lot with the PIDs on the wastegate on how they work. And
what does that mean? I'm gonna step in here and be the idiot for everybody, because sometimes when you hear that term, like,
yeah,
what does that mean?
PIDs, I don't quite understand exactly how they work. It's basically a feed forward table. There is not an electronic motor out there that can, from what I understand, there's not an electronic motor that can move fast enough, which as fast as your boost moves, like your turbo boost, not the sled itself. But so the PIDs, it stands for proportional, integral, and derivative. And I've actually dug into this pretty deeply because, like Dad mentioned at the beginning of the show, we actually have an ECU company that we've been working with. So we've had to use this. And the guy that actually helped us understand this actually built the PID system for Sputnik, for the booms and stuff for that. He actually developed a lot of that. So he understands it far better than probably most people in the industry, excluding obviously OEMs. And so William messed a lot with that one, how fast it closes, how fast it opens, when it needs to open, when it needs to close, what percentage and all that. And I mean, Polaris's mapping is fantastic when it comes to that kind of stuff, and understanding it is the biggest difficulty with it. So William messed a lot with that. And that's one of the things that we're, as you've seen on a lot of competitors' aftermarket turbos, is blow-off valves. We don't like those, especially on a low boost system like snowmobiles. Yes, it gets rid of your charge pressure, and yes, it makes the turbo speed up. But what we've noticed is when you're in and out of the throttle, is it lets all that pressure off. And when you're in and out, you need that extra air to go in there. So we actually ended up messing with the wastegate to keep that pressure in the system so that your in and out becomes more responsive. A lot of blow-off valves and stuff like that, when you let off the throttle, everybody likes the sound and all that. I personally like it when it goes whoo-choo-choo-choo. But, so that was the biggest thing that I noticed. Obviously, we turned the boost up. I think that you were riding was just a stage 1, which is just a pound of boost over stock. Got to be very careful when you get up that high. You start working that charger pretty hard. You end up getting your intake air temperatures up there. But our main focus was in and out throttle tree riding. That's kind of, we're from the West. That's where we ride. So that was the main focus, was getting it responsive, which I do have to say the 25 is very responsive out of the box. I mean, it is phenomenal, but there's always
Yeah, you guys probably noticed the responsiveness immediately. I think you guys mentioned that.
Yeah,
when you were riding it.
If you can pick up on a little bit of just that, exactly what we were talking about, riding through the trees, slow ground speed, but the RPMs are up, and you're working the track and you're kind of chewing your way through and using the angle of the sled to control how fast you're going. And if you can get off the throttle to adjust and then get back on it without, like you're saying, on a boost, the difference between like a stock Patriot Boost and a stock Skidoo Turbo R is that the Turbo R does have a little more power right off the bottom. And the Patriot Boost is, like you said, it's like a stock 850 for a second, and then the boost comes on, and it probably hits a little more than a Turbo R. But what it felt like on your sled was you kind of bridged that gap and pulled that boost in and made it feel more like a Turbo R. And what did you think?
Yeah, the throttle response is definitely better. And like I say, the 25s are better than the 22s, but what you guys did definitely improved it that much more, and it makes them easier to ride too in the trees, when your throttle's there.
Yeah.
Especially when you get in them tight situations, or
Well, and I think that's what a lot of people like about NA sleds is just that you know what you have right there. So bringing that threshold as closest together as possible as we can, then you get that in and out throttle that we all love about NAs. The 9R is really, really responsive that way.
Is this Patriot Boost that we rode going to be in your booth at Heydays?
Yes.
Is it going to have the exact same setup that we rode? Like as far as,
yes,
you know what I'm talking about? The Cat skis and the Lynx track.
This guy, we were trying some. I couldn't put it back. No, it does have the Polaris skis back on, which I think are, like I think you asked, would you go back? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I do like the way the Polaris skis handled, which everything about snowmobiles, just like down to the minute detail, it all changes how it rides. I mean, I would have argued 2 years ago that skis aren't that big of a deal, but obviously, SLP makes skis, and
we've been arguing about skis for about 35 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it was just me not knowing, that kind of thing. And William was big on it last year, and I was, I love to argue with him, so I argued with him for a little while, and I was like, wow, what I really wanted to do was try the Polaris skis on the Alpha, and obviously swapping them was the easiest thing. But it does still have the Lynx track, which I do really like, over top of the 275, which I think I rode your 325 and I did on the 9R.
Our 9R had the 325.
I do really like that track, which is pretty exciting. I think it works better in the deep snow than the Ski-Doo track from what I've read. Mm-hmm. I don't know that for sure, but I do really like the Lynx track.
Honestly, they're pretty comparable because the Ski-Doo 3-inch track is an inch wider. So you got a 16 wide 3-inch track, and then you've got a 15 wide 3.25 track. So they overall, I feel like having the 325 on a Polaris just makes it kind of have traction and leap forward like a cheater gummy tire on a dirt bike, which is kind of what the 16 wide track when it first came out on a Ski-Doo did. But the 16 wide track has been out for so long on a Ski-Doo that we've gotten used to it, and so it no longer feels like an advantage like it used to be. I think though, Michael, you ought to put those Cat skis back on there and stick it in the booth and just see how many people come by and catch that.
See if anybody can notice it.
Yeah. Well, you've got a ton of stuff going on.
He'd be all over it. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, we finally got some good cat stuff on here."
Right. Polaris is getting better.
Let's just change the hood. Let's change the chassis. Let's change the frame. Let's change the rear suspension. That won't be dialed.
Perfect. But, put a monorail on it. I mean,
No, let's not go too far here.
You got him on that one.
Yeah.
But Heydays, though, Michael, you were telling me you got a lot of stuff going on at Heydays. Your booth is in a new spot.
Yep.
You're kind of on I would say the west side of the freestyle moto track. Kind of on the end there. You got a great location. What else is going on there at the booth this weekend?
Well, I'm going to let Trevor say he's been the one working.
That's your field.
Working on that very hard. So
yeah, really, really hard. So we got the old DV and Ink booth. We do a lot with Trevor, and he let us know that booth was available, so we were able to get in there, and we're sharing with Brady from SSI. We kind of have our booths linked, so it's going to be a whole 100-foot walkthrough. But what we're doing is we're going to have some fun this year. So we have a few thousand T-shirts that we're going to be giving away. And just for getting that T-shirt, you actually get yourself a ticket to enter to win a full Arctic Cat Turbo Kit for your Catalyst, or $5,000 cash. That's the first prize. Second, you're going to be a performance package, so your tune, intake, clutching for, say, like your Polaris. And then third place is a clutch kit for your sled.
So how do you enter?
Come get a free T-shirt.
Just walk up to the booth?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Walk up to the booth.
And you need to wear it. You have to wear your T-shirt.
Yeah, there's a whole rule list, but you have to wear that shirt. So if you have your ticket and you're not wearing your shirt, you just lost yourself.
That's cool.
Lost yourself the winning thing. So you have to have the shirt on. Obviously, the shirt has the booth number, HF4. And then if you want more tickets, you can buy them. I mean, anytime somebody buys anything through our booth, you're going to get extra tickets for the giveaway as well. So.
Okay, that's cool. And when is the giveaway?
It is going to be Saturday night.
Like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Okay, so right when things are shutting down. Okay, and then your booth is, again, right there on the west side of the freestyle moto track, just north of Climb. Climb is kind of where they've always been, so you're going to be like right right north of them, on that row behind them. If you know where like Levi LaValle Racing is, that he's on that same west edge of the track. So basically, just straight out Levi's front door, and you'll be right into the IBEX booth. So that's a great location.
Yeah, it was.
That's a good spot.
We lucked out. It was awesome.
Yeah, and then we're going to be over there Saturday morning, recording another one of these inside your booth.
Yes.
And what are we going to be talking about there?
Well, I think we'll get to see a lot about what's going to go on with the drawing and how important it is to be wearing your shirt, because you can get more opportunities. The more you might even get caught in your T-shirt somewhere else, and it might give you another boost on how many tickets you get to put in the box. So go over all the excitement that's going to be happening in the booth, and then of course, we've talked about the 26 Arctic Cat stuff, and Alex can speak to. We're going to show off some new stuff there that the industry has not seen to this point, and I think that's going to be a big bump for the industry, and especially for the Arctic Cat 858s.
You containing yourself over there?
I already know what they got.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I called him on the way here.
He called me.
We asked him if it would be okay.
No, I'm excited. It's good. It's good.
No,
It's always
good.
good to have new stuff.
So, are we going to be able to talk about some of that Arctic Cat stuff,
Oh, yeah.
or are you saving that? All right.
No.
So let's talk about what you got coming for Arctic Cat for the 26 stuff. Let's talk more about the Polaris 9R. Clutching and tuning calibration stuff that you have to offer, but let's do that in just a second. We're going to introduce a couple new segments for the podcast this season, and one of them is called Long Track Short Take. And it might not be the best name for this segment. This is kind of a working title, so we can come up with other stuff here. But what this is, we're kind of borrowing this idea from the Pulp MX show, which is a show I've listened to for, they've been around for 10, 11 years. Just a great group of guys. Do you watch Supercross on TV or motocross? Okay, well, I don't know where I'm going to go with this then. One of the NBC announcers, the NBC trackside announcer, Jason Thomas. So he works at Western Power Sports. He's the fly racing guy.
Okay.
And he's involved heavily in motocross, supercross, and he's on this Pulp MX show. So I've talked to him. We've got a lot of parallel things going there. But Jason, JT, he is also the representative for fly racing for snow. So he's got a foot in the door on the snow stuff, but obviously the motocross stuff is just so much bigger that's where his focus goes. But so anyway, this is a new segment we're going to do. We're going to try to get this in on every episode. So what this is, I'm gonna pick one of you guys. I'm just going to ask you a question. I want like not like a one-word response, but not like a 5-minute elaboration. Just what comes to your head. just kind of give me your thoughts on this. And we've teased on a couple of these already. So. Bruce, we already touched on the 26 Arctic Cats, but I want to ask you the first question. What would the industry look like this season and going forward if Arctic Cat did not make it through?
Probably a lot of people would just quit snowmobiling.
Okay, moving on.
I'm kidding.
Most of the industry would be gone.
Yeah.
Hate to say it.
IBEX would be out of business. No, honestly.
There'd be about 3 less 4-place snowmobile trailers.
Yeah, maybe 3, maybe 2. Honestly, without Cat, I mean, you've got less competition. So I think, honestly, the Polaris Skidoo, I mean, they're going to push each other, but just having that third leg in there just adds another competition, and I think makes these companies, really knuckle down and see what the consumers want and going to push even harder. I just think competition's great. So without them, less competition wouldn't be good.
Yeah, and I there's a lot of like good vibes coming from Polaris and Skidoo out of all this. Like nobody at Polaris or Skidoo was happy about Arctic Cat being gone and being down to a 2 OEM industry. Okay, we'll move on here. Alex, we're going to talk Skidoos here. Expert or X?
Expert.
Why?
It was in the name.
Okay.
Remember that whole thing about not one-word answers that he said just a second ago?
Hey, it's the name. That's 3, and I did the math in my head just now to count that. Well,
It's the name.
yeah. See, I'm telling you, I got 5 fingers here. I I'm not a Ski-Doo guy. They're just weird the way they ride. I love the motor. I love the turbo system. Obviously, I've said it before, I'm the turbo guy, but the Expert seems to be, from what I can tell and have ridden, it seems to be hold a line a little bit better and does seem to be more what the mountain guys go for. Is the X the one? I actually don't really know. The X has is that the one with the T-Motion, or?
That has the T-Motion Flex, but it's now a coilover.
Yes, okay. So that's geared more towards jumping, I think, isn't it? Or is that the free ride?
The free ride is probably more towards jumping, but the free ride is quite a bit heavier. Like, so it's got rail braces and heavier shocks, like bigger diameter shafts and pistons and body shocks, and
yeah.
So it's a heavier machine. It's definitely more durable for big jumps. But yeah, the X and the Expert are
pretty similar.
There's like the Summit line, which is those two sleds, and then the free ride, which is also a deep snow sled, but it's like its own little category anymore.
Right. Yeah, I would have to say it's the Expert, just because of the fact it doesn't have the flex edge track or the T-Motion, which it's got its place for sure, but it's kind of got that same Achilles heel that the Alpha Rail has in the spring snow. And from what I've ridden, my cousin has the old free ride, which I think didn't have quite as much as what the new free ride does, but I haven't ridden the new Expert yet, which I've heard was phenomenal, even over top of last year. So
yeah, with
the 34-inch front end, right?
Yeah, that's 32.
32 now.
It's been 34 for the last several years. I'm trying to think what year that came out. But anyway, now we went really long. We started out with a one-word answer, and now we're
nice
rolling into the double digits here.
Wrong on both points here.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Bruce. What's the worst stuck you can remember?
Oh, geez. The worst stuck? I might have to. Can you come back to me?
Don't act like you never get stuck.
I always get stuck. I don't know.
So we're stuck from last year. Let's go there.
Man.
Okay, so much for rapid fire.
Yeah. Let me think on that.
Trevor, this is going to kind of tap into your wheelhouse a little bit more. What's the more enjoyable? What's the bigger thrill? Snowmobiles or UTVs?
Man, that is hard because you can't compare them. I mean, they're completely different. For me, fresh POW day, though, like when we went up in Preston last year and there was, 3 foot of fresh snow, something, it was crazy. Probably one of the most fun things I've ever done. But just everyday riding, I could ride UTVs 4 or 5 days a week up at the sand dunes and never get tired of it. So it's hard. But both of them have to have power. I mean, that's why I ride a turboed sled for my very first one to learn on. I'm terrible, but it's got the power, so it makes it more fun. And all my side-by-sides are maxed out, so...
Yeah, I bet they are. Yeah, I've seen videos on them on social media. Well, the first response that you came out, that was the correct answer.
Good.
Yeah, deep sled. Deep snow.
You want to ask me again?
Did you figure it out?
Yeah.
What?
It was when we were with the Skidoo boys, and I was on that free ride. There wasn't only one stuck. It was like 5 in a row within 5 minutes. It was just it was riding me.
We dropped in. We dropped into this. Last year was another bad snow year, so we knew we had this Skidoo event coming up where they bring all the 26s and we
You
go
would
ride.
drop into someplace?
So we dropped. No, we took the Groom Trail.
He followed the Arctic Cat
and then there's like this side hill on the side of the Groom Trail, and you just
Yeah,
go play.
okay.
So we saved this pocket, and it's north facing, so everything kind of blows around the mountain and drops into there. So it's always deep. And we dropped into there, and I probably missed the drop in zone by about 50 yards. Maybe 50 yards, half a mile, somewhere around there. And came in a little too low, so we wound up in the smaller trees. And man, there were just pockets of air. And we got stuck in there for an hour and a half. Just trying to regroup and make a loop to shoot back up to a better spot. It took us an hour because we had 6 or 7 guys there, and they were just like Bruce would be stuck like this, just sled sticking straight up, and trees like surrounded, like touching trees on all sides of the sled. And Pascal would be like off to the side trying to come around. He'd be stuck, and then I was like around the corner, and I'm just stuck. And so you're all stuck, so you can't go help each other. You're just trying to get yourself out, and every time you take a step, you're down to your neck in snow.
That on Ski-Doos?
Yeah, that was the 26 Ski-Doos.
Okay.
And then
and I was on the free ride, which isn't a tree riding sled.
Not necessarily. But then
He's offended about this.
then we got out.
They
and
heard you're a cat guy.
And instead of coming and helping you, I just took off. And man, those were some of the best lines of the season.
Yeah, we could hear him on your radio.
So
you guys coming?
perfect.
Dude, the snow's epic over here.
I knew we had wasted our time. We were out of time. We couldn't go hit this zone. But I'm like, we're here. I'm moving. I got to breathe for a minute. So I went and tracked it up a little bit. Came back out, and we were to the point where we had people walking. But that was a fun zone. But that was a good stuck. I wasn't even thinking of that when I had this question for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump back in. Unless Michael, do you want a question?
Sure.
How long does it take you to get dressed, fully ready to ride in the morning?
Well, that depends on how much coffee you've had, really.
How much coffee does it take to get you moving?
Well, a cup and a half will start to make it function. By the time I get to 3, I'll probably get ready in 3 minutes. Just
Pretty fast, like
3
Dash
minutes.
from Incredibles.
Yeah.
There you go. So the morning's off to a good start if you guys stop and get the coffee.
That's right.
All right. Okay, let's jump back into what we're going to talk about. You've got product coming out for the 2026 Cats, and you were teasing this pretty good. Like this is new stuff that nobody's seen before.
Oh, everybody's gonna wet themselves over this.
I know.
All right, what are we talking about here?
Where do I start? So when we developed the 600 Cat, we had a really nice airbox and stuff. A lot of this has to do with the airbox and the turbo specifically itself. When we developed the 858, we actually changed the airbox, and I want to say we made it even from 15% to 20% bigger than we had on the 600. The strange thing was I put this up in Island Park. I put this on in Island Park on my 858 because we didn't have it developed when I got my 858, and I gained 200 RPM, 250 RPM just by putting that on, not changing anything else. My AFRs went a little lean, but we were riding on the flats. I wasn't overly worried about that. So we gained 250 RPM. Well, we went to work. My brother was adamant that we build an intercooler for it. We've obviously pushed the limits of the 600, the 858 and stuff, and he wanted to build an intercooler. So we went to work this summer trying to figure out how to make an intercooler fit in this chassis because it's a tight chassis.
There's not a lot of room there.
No. And our mechanical engineer came to us in the middle of July and was like, I think I figured it out, which was super exciting. We're in the middle of our Pro R turbo kit that we just released, which has been flying off the shelf. It's a really good kit for a really cheap price, or a really inexpensive kit, I should say.
Economical.
There you go. So this intercooler system, what's neat about this is it'll be the first one on the 858 of anything, as far as we know. It is a slip-in, so you buy it, you can buy it with it or without it. And if you buy it without it, you can always upgrade to it. And the best part about it is you get it, you pull this CNC cap off, and you slip the intercooler in, and then you put the CNC cap back on, and then you run it to the heat exchanger underneath. I think we're going to put it underneath where.
So it's a liquid cooled intercooler.
Yeah, liquid air. Yep.
Okay.
And then, obviously, we pioneered that turbo system into the snow market. We went to work designing a specific turbocharger for 2-strokes. It is 30% lighter, which weight especially in the West is huge. Everybody knows this, but it's 30% lighter than the old turbo. It's got 6 grams taken out of the rotating assembly to make it quicker spooling. We changed the intake wheel, and then we have a titanium exhaust housing option, which will make it even lighter. This is 30% with the Inconel.
And you can run this with or without the intercooler?
Yep.
So without an intercooler, you've got to be losing weight over a stock Cat, right?
Yes.
Because you were zeros previously.
Yep.
Take off the exhaust system on a Cat, put the IBEX turbo system on an 858. You weigh the same.
Yep.
So now you're losing 30% of what the turbo system weighs.
Well, 30% of the turbocharger.
Okay,
not the system itself. And then we've got 6 grams, like I said, taken out of the rotating assembly, the bearing system inside there to make it light even faster.
A quicker spooling.
Yep. And then we had a custom built exhaust housing size as well. And then, like I mentioned, a titanium housing to make it even lighter. That's obviously an upgrade fee. The standard kit comes with the stainless Inconel. I don't know what the material is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, this is specifically, the biggest thing is that all these turbochargers that are out there that everybody's using are developed to go 100 to 500,000 miles, on a 4-stroke motor, which is a lot. There's a lot more heat inside of a 4-stroke than there is a 2-stroke. So we went to work trying to figure out how do we lighten this turbo up, because the beauty of aftermarket stuff is that we can make everything a lot lighter. And so with the 2-stroke, obviously, in the West, we wanted to make it as light as possible and make a turbocharger system as light as an NA system. So we went to work doing that. Like I say, I think it was 30% that we took out of the turbocharger system itself. And then if you go to the titanium one, I don't have the numbers on that yet. But we've got a titanium version of the exhaust housing that's going to be pretty sweet. So.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So when are these kits expected to ship?
Probably December 1st, pending snow, obviously.
Yeah.
The tuning and stuff's not going to change much. There's, the masses of the tuning was done last year, but the changing the intake wheel and it spooling faster and stuff like that is going to change some fueling. But other than that, it should be pretty similar to what we had last year, which we had really, really good luck with the kits we sold last year. The intercooler is going to change, obviously flow a little bit. It's going to be cooler air and everything, which we're pretty excited about. We've seen a lot of intake air temperatures on like the Boost and the Ski-Doo and stuff like that. So my brother I argued with him for a little while, believe it or not, about this intercooler system, because I was like, trying to find one that would fit inside that chassis was pretty difficult.
How much weight does that intercooler add? Do you know?
It's going to probably be anywhere from 4 to 6 pounds, maybe just due to the water.
Yeah. Most of it's water weight.
Yeah, we did think about an air-to-air. The Sidewinder had an air-to-air, and we never measured it, but I'm pretty sure it must have been pretty good. Yamaha didn't put out stuff that was, lacked in that area. They were just heavy. So an air-to-air did cross our mind, putting it outside the chassis. But then obviously there's other risks with that kind of thing, especially when I'm riding it or him. Trees.
But you've got to be moving fast enough to get airflow through it to make it effective. And most of what we wind up doing is slow ground speed, where if it's water to air, now you're moving snow through the coolers. But if it's air to air, you're not getting any airflow through it.
Yeah, the only other thing that we thought about with the air to air was, especially with the, we had an MPI system on the Viper back 2015, and it had an electric fan back there, but it got plugged with ice. So the snow still sticking to the air to air is going to cool the aluminum down itself. You don't get that airflow, but it is going to help quite a bit. So we did think about that, but obviously on the trails, an air to air is great. Yeah. But like you said, in the mountains, we've got a lot of track speed with no ground speed, so it just the water to air makes a lot more sense.
So what's the big benefit if a guy's going to do this new 858 turbo system? What's the pros and cons of doing the intercooler?
The cons, I think, would be weight. Pros is you get more horsepower per pound of boost, just because you're putting colder air into the system, which is denser, which makes it so that you can build more horsepower. The other thing that I failed to mention is we do have a head that comes with it now, a turbo-specific head. We did this head with SSI on the 600. We were 9 horsepower more on the bottom, 15 horsepower in the mid, and I can't remember what the top was, but it was phenomenal gains with it.
This was not on our dyno.
No, we don't have a dyno. This was on
third-party dyno.
Yeah. So on the 858, we were, there's the NA head is built specifically for NA stuff. Turbocharger heads are different. The way the air flows, how fast it flows around the spark plug and the head and stuff, it can create detonation stuff, which, we didn't have detonation problems last year, but we are able to basically, if you detonate on your boost stock, that's how good it is with this head, which made it basically a 91 pump gas thing at 5 pounds of boost. And of course, with the chassis being that light, I had a guy ask me if what the bottom end of the 858 would hold, and I'm like, well, I only went to 7 pounds of boost because the chassis got so light. It was, you were cooking at 7 pounds of boost, even at 8 to 10,000 feet. So we rode it mostly with 5 pounds. So straight 91 pump gas is pretty nice, obviously non-ethanol.
The really nice thing about the intercooler too is for what we were starting to see is like really long pulls. Then the heat continues to build slowly, but after a really long pull, this completely resolves that issue of the heat getting too high on long pulls. And
it's even more than that, because with the intercooler, what I don't want to confuse is long poles. What we've seen most of the times is guys that have that Energizer Bunny energy, like you.
You?
I don't know who he's looking at.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about you.
I'm looking past you, but it's not, a lot of guys will be, I don't shoot chutes, but it's actually the guys that sit there and go back and forth all the way up the mountain. I can't do quite the hop over thing, but your intake air temperatures start to get really hot. That's when we noticed it on the boost and noticed it on the Ski-Doo, was when you're, and in deep powder, obviously, the intake air temperatures will always climb. Depending on how much boost you build, they'll always climb, and they will eventually flatten out because they're only creating so much heat. But that's where we noticed it was more the guys when you're holding the throttle wide open and then stop and go back across the hill and stuff like that. That's where it is. So the pros is being able to keep the intake air temperature under control. You're building more horsepower per pound of boost. It's safer on the motor. You're not putting that much heat inside there, so you're not having to pull timing. You're not having to add fuel. Any of the stuff that comes with the safety features of the motor. So
does your 858 turbo kit come with the head?
Yep.
That's just part of the kit?
Yep.
And it comes with clutching?
Mm-hmm. Clutching, tuning, obviously the turbo kit itself. The only thing it doesn't come with at this point is the intercooler system. But
that's an add-on.
That's an add-on.
And then how much is the intercooler to add on?
I don't know exactly, because we don't have the heat exchanger done yet. So I don't know exactly. I'm shooting for anywhere from $800 to $1,500, depending on where our cost is on it. We don't know that yet. All the little fittings, the pumps and stuff like that, we haven't sourced those yet. So
are you going to have this? Are you going to have an intercooled 858 at Heydays in the booth?
Yes, we will have
mocked up.
Yeah, my sled will have the new airbox without the intercooler, and then we will have a display unit that you can look at with the intercooler in it. So you'll see that it doesn't have the heat exchanger or the pump or anything and all that wired up, but you'll be able to see the airbox, the intercooler inside the airbox, and then we do have a video of how you install it, which it's...
Yeah, so that was my next question. Where does the intercooler actually sit? Does it go inside the airbox? Or
Inside the
you can't
airbox.
see it if you pull side panel off then?
No, the only thing you can see is obviously 2 lines coming out for the water.
Okay.
But other than that, no, it slips right in. So the steering column comes down, and then it's kind of like the chassis kind of does this sort of in the front, and the airbox sits in there. We were able to slip it sideways, and the air comes in and then goes through the intercooler and then back around and into there. And then we've got obviously we had to move our dual bypass system, one on the top that you'll be able to see and one on the bottom that you can't see. So it's a pretty neat system. The guy that came up with it, our mechanical engineer, he was super excited about how it all came together finally, because he was pretty at his wit's end at the end of June trying to figure this out. He was like, I don't know if I can get it. And then I get a text at like 3:21 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, what are you doing up? And he's like, I think I figured it out.
That's when all the good ideas come.
Yeah. So the long and the short of the whole thing is that we've introduced technology, the turbocharger that came into the industry that has changed the industry, now being used by many. We've now upped that ante. We got a lighter turbo. We got a turbo that spools even faster. We bring an intercooler to the market. And then we have one thing that we aren't going to reveal on this show, but we've got more technology coming in the snowmobile industry that is pretty cool.
You going to release that at Heydays? Or is that a later date?
No, I think it's going to be a later date, depending on how fast the project goes. But it is going to be, I mean, it's going to be the first, at least aftermarket turbo company I've ever done. So it's going to be pretty neat.
Cool. Are you looking at intercoolers for Skidoo or Polaris?
Yes, we are. I wasn't until the beginning of August. All of a sudden, I was like, why don't we just do this whole system for the Polaris and the Skidoo rather than doing a bigger charger or anything like that, trying to get your intake air temperatures down with that. The Boost is, it spools so fast anyway. It's a phenomenal turbo. I love that turbocharger system. It's interesting the way they did it. Obviously, there's got to be some sort of, putting the valve on the pipe. William and I thought that was super interesting why they did that and stuff. But to go to like the stage 3, you can. It's just once you start getting up at the elevations we ride at, you're working that turbo really, really hard, and so
builds heat.
Builds heat. So at that point, you're just building. You're just a hairdryer. You're just building heat. You're not building any power. So we've thought about doing an intercooler on that, and then of course the Skidoo. Nobody does one that I know of. So we're pretty excited about that.
Cool. Yeah. So the next thing we want to talk about here, obviously, is the Polaris 9R. When we rode with you last winter, we had our own 9R 155 Chaos with the 325 track, and that's a very good running machine. Like just box stock machine. That's about as good. That is, I guess, that is as good as you can get in an NA, in our opinion. Like that machine just flat out rips. It runs clean, everything. So we brought that sled along. We've ridden it stock all season, and you guys put in the IBEX clutch kit. And what we saw out of that was an even stronger bottom to mid, and not losing much on top, but just making that thing even more responsive and more track speed, build track speed quicker, lower RPMs, at lower ground speeds, like just getting that sled to move, like coming off of zero throttle as you're bouncing in through the trees and kind of in and out of the throttle, just more accessible power. And so what is it about that clutch kit that gives that 9R that feel?
Well, that one's more Williams' forte, not mine. But
do you guys let William out? I've never seen him on any of these. Do you just keep him boxed up? Or?
Yeah, see, like I said, I'm the looks, he's the brains.
I gotcha.
So I try to keep him, locked away as much as I can, because I'm afraid to scare some people off. But can't wait to see the comments on this podcast.
See what William says when he sees this podcast.
he won't watch it. I got him stuck in a combine right now. So no, one main thing that we do over top of any of our competitors is we lighten everything up. You've got guys that are doing carbon fiber rotating stuff, and then titanium stuff. So we took the weights and we curve our profile more than anybody in the market. What that does is creates leverage, so we can run lighter weight than anybody else. Your back shift is faster, your upshift is still more or less the same, except for the fact you're not wasting as much energy. So that's basically the number one thing that we always try to do, is remove mass out of the flyweight. And it does get some people, they go, well, how do you maintain the RPM? Well, it's all about leverage. There's 3 different things that come into the way a weight works. You've got your profile, your center of mass, which is what a lot of people mess with and have messed with since, I don't know, for like the last 7 years or something they've messed with. And then, of course, you've got your overall mass, your 67 gram, 70 gram weights. So we run a lighter mass. We use the profile to create the force against the roller, which obviously squeezes the belt. Our main focus on the 9R was not necessarily the top end, just due to the fact that specific machine, in our opinion, was built as a tree killer. I've seen multiple people say, it's just absolutely the bee's knees when it comes to the trees. And so we focused on making sure that it was smooth off the get-go, so you're not blowing the track out. You don't have to have as much throttle control as you would on, a clutch kit that slams in or something like that. And then, obviously, when you snap the throttle, you want that power there. So that was our main focus with the lightweight crank. We tried to lighten up the clutch as much as we could, while still maintaining peak RPM and everything. So our main focus is always lightening up the weights, using our profile as an advantage to that. And then our helix, we always run a shallower helix, and that just makes it so that we can backshift faster, which is a lot in the mountains. What you need when you let off the throttle, we want it back in the correct gear. Otherwise, you listen to the motor kind of lug as it comes up. That was something that drove us nuts. Clear back even in 2006-7 when we were riding the old Rev chassis. So that was our main focus, was trying to make the bottom end mid stronger, just due to the fact of where that machine shines.
Let me ask you this on the Skidoo side of things, because we always talk about the 9R when it comes to NA sleds, but I think the 26 Summit X NA 154 is going to be right there with a 9R, where they've changed the suspension and lightened it up.
Yeah.
15 pounds. I mean, that motor is strong. It may not have like the lightweight crank
Right.
feel, but aside from that sled transformed completely. Like going from 25 to 26, just losing 14, 15 pounds and getting a more lively suspension under it. That sled, I think you're going to hear people talking about that versus a 9R. And a lot of people are probably going to say that X is better than the 9R. I think in some situations, I was saying that in the spring too. What are you doing on the clutching side on Skidoo that can get those same results?
It's the same sort of deal. We developed the clutching in 17 for that motor. That is our second most sold kit, just due to the fact of the way that it works. I think we were 2 links out of the hole faster, if I'm not mistaken. We don't have the Gen 5 chassis, but as far as like on the Gen 4 stuff, it was a phenomenal, like I said, it's our second most sold kit. It's got the same sort of technology that comes into what we do on all of our applications. It's got the lighter weight. We utilize obviously the clicker system. That's pretty neat. It's not as much needed on the turbos just because they're altitude compensating, but you're able to click up and down, which was awesome that they kept that from the old TRA clutch. But it's got the same sort of thing. We lighten up the bolt, that center bolt that you loosen to change the clickers. I think we run the 26 millimeter bolt on that. And what we noticed with that clutch kit straight out of the box or the stock clutch kit, was it has a lot of mid-weight weight, just because of that pin being down there and the way their clicker system works. So we wanted to utilize getting it as light in the mid as we could, and then start bringing the profile back into it in order to grip the belt harder. What we noticed was when you'd snap the throttle, it would come up, and then around that 20 to 25 mile an hour mark, it would hesitate a little bit and then keep pulling. And that's because of 20 to 30 mile an hour, there's a little bit too much pin weight, what we feel. So with that, we were able to lighten up the pin, lighten up the bolt, and then bring the profile in to take care of the rest of the thing. And then of course at the top with the curve, we just get more and more efficient the faster track speed you get. So then of course our helix and everything is shallower, and I think it's a multi-degree. I think it's a triple angle helix actually. So
Yeah. You got any questions or comments on this, on the clutching side?
No.
So let's talk about, you've got some modified air intake systems for Polaris. Is it,
Yep.
you do Skidoo as well, or is it just Polaris?
No,
right now?
just Polaris right now. We have been looking into the Skidoo stuff. Actually, we tore a whole links apart April of this year to start developing a air intake system for it. But yeah, our intake system on the Polaris is it gives you 480% more surface area to suck from. They go on the sides. They're sleek. They have the right side goes into the exhaust vent that Polaris has there, and it actually has a bypass, a powder valve in it, so that if they do for some odd reason get plugged, that powder valve will open, because sucking hot air is better than no air. And then your left side it's a little bit longer, which the first one that we developed was way long. And for me, it wasn't a problem because I'm not overly tall, but for someone probably like you, your knee would hit it, and we did have a few breaks, so we ended up shortening it up. This year we did redevelop it. We have more ways for the snow to escape underneath, because we were sucking actually against the panel. We had a channel under there that would suck if the top got thing on the left side as well. We've changed the way those channels do so that they shed snow a little bit better than the old one. 480%. There's no need really to have a powder valve, in my opinion. There, it is a lot of air to suck. We did end up seeing, I think it was 150 to 200 RPM gain just by doing that, just getting the air into the turbo. I had a couple of customers comment on that. They had to add a half a magnet to their weights and stuff like that when they put them on. In the powders where they shine, obviously the most, everybody loves a deep powder day, as he already mentioned. So these intakes are pretty neat. They take 10-15 minutes to install, no cutting, no nothing. You just unbolt the stock ones, and ours bolt right in. So,
and they definitely give you the most amount of air of any out there.
So a lot of bang for the buck on that.
Yeah.
What's a kit run for a Polaris?
Right now they're $417.99. We are doing a price change here within the next, probably by December 1st when the snow starts to hit. But that's just the intake system, and then you've got the clutching, I think is $549 if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got our tuner out the goat tuner and everything that it's pretty simple to use. So we have all that performance packages in there, so you save some money if you buy it all together. Well,
perfect. Anything else you guys wanted to hit on?
I think
aside from that,
I think that it would be good to also let everybody know that we've touched on it a little bit, but we are not just snowmobile people. We and so many people that run snowmobiles have UTVs. We also do clutching and tuning and turbochargers for UTVs, and especially on the Pro R, that kit has just been absolutely amazing. A lot of bang for the buck, as you mentioned, on that. But I think, too, in the snowmobile world, just watch for the technology. We are the technology leaders. No question about it. Otherwise, so many people wouldn't follow if we weren't the leader. And then having Arctic Cat back is just huge for the industry, I think. You know, you have a third option. I know that I think it was said of Yamaha when they brought out the Phaser, they took the market by like 80%. And they said, we'll never do that again because there were so many less sleds sold. Because everybody's just like, I don't want to ride a Yamaha, so I'm not going to ride anymore. So your comment about a few people not riding, it's probably true, right?
All five of us.
It's good to have that extra poke your buddy with sort of.
I know a lot of people were excited about the Twin Rail. We rode one of Riley Kincaid's sled with a K-mod on it, and it was not my type of sled, but it's definitely got its place, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people wanted it back, so pretty excited about that. We did mention earlier that we're with the ECU side of stuff, so we do have a basically standalone ECU for UTVs. This is completely different than your other standalone ECUs. Right now it's on the Can-Am X3. You can plug this in just like a downloader. You plug this in within 30 seconds, you can drive away. You don't ever have to contact us or your tuner if you buy it from somebody else or anything like that, which in the standalone world is not plausible. You have to talk to them because of the way Can-Am does their stuff. So we have a lot of electronic stuff coming out. Hint, hint on the 858. That's going to be pretty neat. So,
well, I'm excited to see that. I'm sure this guy over here is pretty excited to see that stuff too. And it is great to see Arctic Cat back and to have him really not miss a beat, even though it seemed so touch and go there for a while. But that's what's cool about the story that's going to be fun with getting Brad Darling and Troy Halverson on, is because behind the scenes this whole time, Troy never stopped.
Yeah.
Troy just kept going and producing a 26 model year, not even knowing what the future held. He's just like, I'll take my resources, I'll take the employees that I still have and the engineering team that he had, and they just moved forward with the 26 lineup, hoping that somebody would come in and step in. And then Brad Darling starts putting this deal together, and he does come in and step in. And the day after they announced that Arctic Cat was acquired from Textron, they released a 26 lineup. Like, it couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was really good news. And to have a twin rail is, it was never let's have a twin rail again instead of the Alpha. It was, the Alpha is phenomenal. It's a very narrow target niche for some people though, and some people want a twin rail. So why not sell a sled to the guys that want twin rails and sell a sled to the guys that want Alphas? Like that was always our argument anyway. It was never like get rid of the Alpha because it's such a phenomenal skid in the deep snow. But when you have so many potential buyers that are like, hey, I think I'd get a Cat, but I don't want the Alpha. I would probably get a twin rail. Like, throw it out there. Let them buy it. Let them give them options.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to have them back. And Trevor, give us a recap again on what's happening at the booth, like how to enter to win, some of the prizes you're giving away coming up at Heydays.
Yeah, so come to the booth. You get a free T-shirt and a ticket, and that's what gets you entered. You have to wear the T-shirt. We got a few things on there too, like our social medias, that type of stuff. But basically, I mean, there's no purchase necessary to get yourself entered to win. First place is a Catalyst Turbo Kit or $5,000. So if you're not a Cat guy, you still can win $5,000. And then second place is going to be a full tuning package. So you get tuner, you get your intake, you get your clutch kit for whatever sled you have, and then third place is going to be a clutch kit for your sled.
Okay.
And which booth is that?
HF4.
HF4, just on the west side of the freestyle moto track. It's a great location because you can sit there and you can watch most of the freestyle events.
Which direction
and the
is
side by
west?
side. The side that the sun sets on.
Yeah.
Away from the road.
The other way from east.
Yeah.
You're not going out there to race UTVs.
No.
You need to. One of these years. Get you entered in there.
We need
Get one of the IBEX
No, but he does
cars
have a
in
Lynx. So
I do have a Lynx, yeah. Maybe I'll go race mud Lynx after you guys.
Yeah, why don't you come
part
jump
of
in the mud
media,
race
right?
with us? Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to go. That's 2 o'clock on Saturday if you want to go watch some absolute chaos.
I'm going to because I've never seen you dirty. So this is going to be exciting.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know what to expect from a snowmobile, let alone a Lynx, going full throttle across the mud, and I have no idea what we're doing. So
I don't think it's going to.
Have you ridden on water before?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you'll do all right.
I've sunk my
total
fair
opposite.
share of sleds. I mean, those sleds are great on water, so can't be that much different. But I don't know. Yeah, come over there at 2 o'clock and film that, would you, Bruce?
I will. I'll be there.
See how that thing goes down. But yeah, we were talking with you, Trevor, earlier. You rode Lynx last year, and now you're going to the 26 Skidoo Expert. So you're in for a good time. I think you'll like that.
First
You'll
year
like
sledding on a Lynx was fun.
Keep your eye on our social media pages because there's going to be a lot of bloopers.
All right. That's what we like to
Don't
see.
ever look at the tree as you're coming at it. That's what I figured out last year.
Yep. Stare where you want to go.
Yep.
Lock your eyes on the gaps. All right. If you're headed to Heydays, go to the IBEX booth, like we were saying, just west of the freestyle moto track, and get entered to win. Like, that's a huge prize, $5,000 cash or a Catalyst Turbo Kit. Come over and get your T-shirt, get your ticket, get entered to win there. We're going to be there right next to these guys, and we're actually going to be in your booth on Saturday again, shooting another podcast. So come by and stay high. Check out the SnoWest booth. We're going to be over there, just one more aisle over from IBEX. We've got T-shirts and hats and hoodies, and Bruce is going to be there. I'm going to be there. We're going to be shooting podcasts all weekend and having fun, so come over and say hi. And once again, we've got Trevor Blackburn, Alex Klassen, Michael Klassen, and Bruce Kerbs, SnoWest Test Rider, myself, Ryan Harris. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and watch out for the next episodes. And we'll see you later.
See ya, Heydays.